There have been some developments in the Reckless Ben story. Unfortunately, he's still on the run, and he still can't talk about bricks and minifigs, and he still isn't able to call out the police. However, what he is allowed to do is let other YouTubers do the work for him. He's given the whole platform a reason to want to fight against bricks and minifigs. He has given the audience plenty of reason to want to fight against bricks and minifigs. And now he's left it out of his own, he didn't exactly want this to be the way things went, but against his will, the job that he started has been passed on to everybody else, to every YouTuber and to every viewer who feels responsible to make sure justice is done in this story. And that the one guy who started all this trying to go out of his way to make sure justice was done does not end up being the one who gets punished in the end. Because that's how it usually goes in real life. You've got a bunch of bad people doing bad things, a well-meaning person comes along and tries to expose it and shut it down, then that person ends up getting saddled with all of the blame, framed, and they get in trouble. Because the bad people have enough power to make sure that the good people get in trouble before they do. And that's kind of what happened to Ben, and we're trying to prevent that from happening once again, as it always seems to go. Now, thankfully, one of the creators who's jumped on board with this is none other than coffeezilla, an extraordinaire at exposing grifters and scammers and all sorts of bad actors that take people's money and don't do what they say they're gonna do with it. So, I think I trust him. He's gone and done an interview with the new owner of the Bricks and Minifigs store. I believe it's either the new CEO or new store franchise owner. Regardless, he does an interview with him, and I've heard a lot about this interview. I've heard a lot of, I've seen some clips. Some clips went viral from this, but I have not seen it yet. And I'm pretty much going in totally blind on this, so I'm really excited to see coffeezilla's investigation into bricks and minifigs, because as far as this genre of content goes, I honestly feel like coffeezilla is the top of the totem pole when it comes to trustworthy and credible sources on issues like this. I believe in him. Yeah, coffeezilla be getting folks. So, let's give him a watch, shall we? There'll be a link to the original video down below, too. Obviously, go give coffeezilla the like, the comment, the sub. You know what to do.
A $200,000 Lego collection went missing, causing a lot of you to ask me to find it. And after seeing the cops point guns at YouTubers, people get arrested and sued for $1.3 million, I decided enough was enough. This looks like a case for the internet detective. This time in the $10 million Lego studio. So I talked to every suspect involved. What I found shocked me.
Damn, the production value is already, pretty high. I'm assuming coffeezilla doesn't use AI to make this stuff. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't be pro AI, though. And he's got plenty of money to just commission an artist, so probably not.
Okay, before we can find these missing Legos, let's give some background. A massive Star Wars collection was put on consignment at a Lego store called Bricks and Minifigs in Salem, Oregon. Consignment just means the owner, Brian Mansell, gave it to a store to sell, and he was supposed to get a cut when it sold. The entire time, he maintained ownership of the collection, and a social media post estimated it to be worth about $200,000. But then, on November...
Mind you, like, typically, if you're taking in some Lego sets or any kind of object that you would sell to a store, and then that store sells to somebody else, and then they make a profit off of it, anything that you would bring in to put on consignment usually would be like a couple Lego sets, right? In this case, it was a lifetime's worth of mint condition late Star Wars Lego sets going back to like the 90s. You know, like some were like from the 80s. Like, we're talking some real like vintage Star Wars Lego stuff here. Stuff that just as collector's items alone is worth and going to be worth a lot. So the amount of money, the amount that both companies stood to gain, or both parties stood to gain, Bricks and Minifigs and Paul, they both stood to gain a lot of money from this. This is a massive consignment deal. They were stocking the shelves of the entire store with this guy's collection. But that's what got corporate's attention and I think led to this theft, was how massive this deal was and the fact that they felt they could scam one person and make it worth their while for a long time.
14th, 2024, everything went wrong. This was the night that Crystal and Ben Gorman, the prior franchise owners of the Salem store, got kicked out by this guy. That is Brandon Beck.
Yes, those two held up their end of the bargain. They're the ones who agreed to the consignment thing and did the contract and everything. This fucker is the dude who came in, cooed the store away from them, and then, I don't know if you remember, but when Ben tried to make that good faith attempt to have a conversation with him, he just stood in his yard for 20 minutes saying nothing while Ben just asked him basic questions.
He and his partner Josh Johnson ran a sister store in Eugene, Oregon, and Brandon drove up that night to kick the Gormans out. Brandon and Josh would be taking over the franchise in Salem, and this is the exact moment the Legos go missing. As that store is getting handed over, the question is Brian's collection in it? Here's what the official Bricks and Minifigs press release reads. Quote, after taking over the store, we discovered a small number of sets valued between $2,000 to $5,000 that could be possibly related to Mr. Mansell's collection. But there's a problem here. There should be over 10 times that amount in this store, given their internal records and what we know the estimated value of this collection was. So of course,
there was a group of YouTubers who made a whole, a whole spreadsheet on what everything was identified to be and what its market value should be. And we have a general total, but it's give or take. Well, not take, but give. It's probably a more conservative estimate so far as the 200K worth of Legos that was stolen. It's probably more than that. That was a very conservative estimate, and there could be something like 10 to 20% of the sets that were stolen still not identified and priced yet. Meliza 101 or 1001, thank you for the $5, says, couldn't this whole thing have been avoided by the company just paying that 200K? You would think, right? They could just pay it out of pocket from corporate and it'd be fine, but it's hard to say how many moving parts there are going on here. There could genuinely be just one guy in high up corporate at Bricks and Minifigs trying to orchestrate a massive profit for himself, and everyone else is just kind of defensively jumping against Ben and calling the cops and getting them involved because they don't know what's going on. They just know their company is being attacked. That could be possible, but it just seems more likely they're just trying to get away with having all of that merchandise, and they probably want to hold on to it and sell it when it's worth way more. Right now, I don't know if Lego Star Wars bricks are in a massive boom price-wise right now. I bet their goal was to take all these Star Wars Legos, put them in a vault somewhere for 5 or 6 years, wait until Star Wars is popular again and Lego is popping off, and then sell them when they're really vintage and really selling for a lot. I think their goal was to turn this into a $600,000 theft after sitting on these sets for a while. I don't think Bricks and Minifigs wanted to immediately flip these sets for cash.
Corporate saying there was only $2,000 to $5,000 in the store. Something happened to these Legos. But what? In order to solve this case, let's think about the suspects. First, who was there that night of the handover? It's only 3 people. Crystal and Ben Gorman, the former franchise owners, and Brandon Best, one of the new owners. These are our 3 biggest suspects,
Brandon.
but they aren't the only ones. I want to address a few other suspects at the very start here. First of all, maybe this is just all the result of, plain old thieves breaking in. What about that possibility?
Hi, I am Chris. I was the previous franchise owner who signed the collection agreement with Brian Mansell.
And I'm Benjamin Gorman. I am the silent partner who's really bad at being silent.
We did have a couple of break-ins at the store. None of Brian's collections were in the police report or stolen during those.
Okay, so the Gormans say emphatically it wasn't thieves, but if that's the case, what about the guy who was arrested? I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Reckless Ben. This is the YouTuber who started it all. With a documentary, I tracked down the thief who stole $200,000.
So Bricks and Minifigs, their public position is they don't have the Lego sets. Not that the Lego sets were never given to Bricks and Minifigs, not that the Lego sets were never paid for or anything, but that they disappeared at some point, and while they were given to Bricks and Minifigs, they don't have them anymore, and they can't do anything about it. That's pretty much the position of the thieves, the alleged thieves. They don't even claim that the Legos were never given to them. They just say that somehow they're gone. And they don't know where they are, and they don't have them.
Of Lego. Maybe it's the perfect crime. Make a video tracking yourself. Now, for our theory, it's worth noting Ben is currently facing a RICO lawsuit by Bricks and Minifigs. He was even targeted with a search warrant for stolen Legos.
Included in the warrant are Legos.
The owner report.
Yeah, and that was like critical to that raid, was the fact that Bricks and Minifigs was arguing the Legos were, if anything, stolen from them, and then tried to pin that on Ben and got the SWAT team sent to his house. Because Bricks and Minifigs is also trying to claim they are a victim of Lego theft, of those 200K in Legos, and they're being taken seriously, while Ben, who's advocating for the actual owner, on paper, contract confirmed owner of the Lego sets, that guy is the one who's getting targeted by police, even though he represents the actual owner. And obviously the Bricks and Minifigs are just consignees. Like, they're just they're just handling and selling and then taking a bit of a profit off of the merchandise.
Overhearing conversations about possible stolen Legos.
And on top of that, Reckless Ben was even accused of stealing the Legos by the current franchise owner.
I stole the Legos?
Yep.
What do you think of the theory that it was Reckless Ben? He stole the Legos.
He did not.
It's absurd. We didn't even know Reckless Ben. He
Yeah.
had no interaction, no relation to us, no relation to the store. That doesn't hold any water.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Apologies to the genius cops in Utah who play different.
We play differently here.
But I don't believe that Reckless Ben stole the Lego, mostly because
You ain't from around here, are you, boy? Why don't you go back to L.A., all right? You're in Utah now. You're in Mormon country. No, genuinely. Utah is like a Mormon ethno-state. It's Mormon Israel. 42 to 60% of Utah's population is Mormon. I'm not joking. Literally Mormon Israel.
he couldn't. He just wasn't there that night, and I don't even think he knew about these Legos. But who does Ben suspect is holding the Legos, since he did this whole documentary series?
The guy who runs the entire company,
Ooh, this
Benjamin
guy.
McNeff, he personally came out to talk to us.
So what's going on?
So you guys are holding some of our Legos?
No, we're not.
You're not?
No.
Is that a lie?
No.
That's a lie. You did take the Legos.
No. So we have our attorneys have visited, but like again. So who's
Brian Mansell.
Okay, and who's that?
He's a guy.
I will say, if the police were not actively in the pocket of this company or so incompetent that they might as well be, this dude in this interaction buries himself so hard. This is the most shut the fuck up Friday moment ever. I'm pretty sure video like this could be submitted to the court and used in the case. And in this video, he says some shit. Like, in this recording, he says some shit that is highly incriminating, and then he continues to say highly incriminating shit over the phone. And I think all those recordings and logs can be submitted to the court, assuming he's even able to, serve him with the papers and get him in court, but that's a whole other issue. But yeah, this video in particular would have been real nice for Ben to use in court.
He had like $200,000 worth of Legos in your guys' store.
Never happened.
My name is Ammon McNeff.
The walking back that this guy has done, the claiming like, okay, the Legos were given to us, but now they're gone, to Legos were never brought to our store. Like the blatant walk back, the like goalpost moving, the switching up. Yeah, this guy's the most suspicious of all of them, in my opinion.
I am the CEO of the Bricks and Minifigs brand.
So my name's Matt McNeff. I'm the COO of Bricks and Minifigs.
The people you just saw are the McNeff brothers. They agreed to speak with me to try to clear their name. I asked them, do they have the Legos?
What I can tell you is that we don't have it. We've never had access to them.
It seems to kind of go missing. Parts of it seem to go missing on November 14th.
Well, and I guess no, not at all. I'm gonna say, that is not accurate at all. Because
So you think that the collection was in the store at the time or elsewhere?
Elsewhere. When you look at Mansell's own words that he reiterated to a podcast last year, he explicitly stated to another podcaster, the sets were moved off-site for security.
The collection will not be stored on site after hours for security reasons, and after Sunday the sets will be available for purchase but stored elsewhere.
Now, one thing that's been...
So the Lego sets are not stored overnight on site for security reasons, and they restock the shelves every day when the store opens, which is pretty common. There are a lot of businesses that are like that, a lot of pop-up businesses that take over like a little strip mall rented out business front, and they empty the store at night and stock it up in the morning, and it's almost like a store, like a flea market booth in a way. However, I remember distinctly, who was it, the Joshua guy, saying that something like his collection was furnishing half of the store's shelves. So clearly they were being kept on site for the sake of display and sale, but they're not being kept on site at night. They were removed and were supposed to be put back every night, as are all of the rest of the Legos on site.
A big subject of the Bricks and Minifigs kind of story is, hey, there are these off-site locations. Can you address what that is? Is that true?
So the off-site location in the letter that that corporate is referring to is the original press release that we released when we were launching the collection. In that press release, because we had previous break-ins, I specifically included the location that after this weekend, those Legos would be stored off-site to deter any future thefts. They were briefly stored off-site after that launch weekend while I bought safes for the back room, and then they were moved back into the store.
Okay, so for most of the time, the sets were in the store after y'all got the safes in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ammon McNeff...
It makes sense that they would get $200,000 in Legos and have to buy more safes in order to keep them in the back room when the store is closed. That does make sense. Like all of a sudden someone shows up with like a U-Haul truck full of Legos and you need to be able to like store them. It's like, fuck, we need to go buy some safes. Like those big, tall gun safes, I imagine, is what they use. And they probably had to buy like 4 or 5 of them.
suspects that a lot of the Legos weren't there that night. And then on the other hand, we just heard from Crystal and Ben Gorman explaining the off-site story, saying that later they no longer used those off-site locations. But what do we really know about the Gormans? They are the former franchise owners after all. I mean, shouldn't we be suspicious of everyone? They're one of our key suspects. They were there the night we lost Brian's collection. They were the creators of the consignment deal after all.
I was there, Gandalf.
And one group in particular is pointing their finger at them very hard. It's the McNeffs, who say they were behind on payments.
We started getting calls from the landlord letting us know that Crystal was behind on the lease payments at the location. We had also gotten a couple of notices from some of our vendor partners that bills had not been paid by the store. And so we felt pretty strongly that there was going to be a risk of her just, like attempting to file bankruptcy, doing some of these other types of things, which we've had franchisees do in the past. And that's...
Didn't you literally close a store to avoid having to pay Reckless Ben or the old man, Mansell? Did you not close a store to avoid doing? Because that sounds kind of familiar. Maybe I'm wrong.
We're just, like attempting to file bankruptcy, doing some of these other types of things, which we've had franchisees do in the past, and that's problematic. So that's why we sent him up there to take some video footage. So we needed to just be prepared if we needed to do a hostile takeover, which, can happen in franchising, where a franchise owner just, kind of tries to steal inventory and do some different things that way.
Okay, so Bricks and Minifig's story is that they were worried about the Gormans skipping town, so they sent Brandon Best as a secret shopper on October 24, 2024. This is weeks before the takeover. Brandon takes a video of the store condition in preparation for this handover, but at this point, Brandon does not announce himself to Crystal Gorman. Later, though, on November 14th, once again, the same concern...
That's pretty good practice. Like, he actually got video of the store before he came and took it over, so Can we identify any of the Star Wars Lego sets on the shelves? Are they not even... Because I didn't see any Star Wars Lego. Interesting.
Brandon takes a video of the store condition in preparation for this handover, but at this point, Brandon does not announce himself to Crystal Gorman. Later, though, on November 14th, once again, the same concern about the Gorman stealing or theft was expressed by the McNeffs.
Brandon was trying to make sure that they weren't taking things from the store, and so he was kind of trying to make sure that she wasn't putting things, like hiding things in the back, and that and while he was watching that, trying to make sure Ben wasn't grabbing stuff from the store and moving or doing anything along those lines, because he just got a weird feeling about the whole transition.
She took at least one, if not more than one, cartfuls of things out to her car with her coat draped over it.
So yeah, the McNeffs say, look, they don't trust the Gormans, and they explained it, even further. They said, hey, there's some issues in her past.
She apparently has a retail theft and other criminal arrests on her record that we were not aware of.
When was that?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. I mean, okay, so on its face, this seems plausible. Like, I almost bought this for a second on its face. Because, okay, hold on. You got these 2 franchise owners who get, removed. Maybe they're a little bit salty or angry, and they decide, fuck it. let's grab some of the most valuable Star Wars Lego sets, all the most valuable Lego sets, and sneak them out and get out of here and resell them. You know, consider it a severance package, you know? And that definitely seems plausible, especially when she has that previous retail theft on her record. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but if that's true, why did you guys ever accept them as franchise owners? Like, they would have had to go through so many, like, they had to apply, go through a training. There's a whole process you have to go through with corporate if you're going to own a location in a franchise. And you get, like, I'm sure they ran a background check and all sorts of other things. So why did they let them have a franchise in the first place? And then my other question is, why were they removed from their franchise when they were? Like, sure, maybe they spitefully stole the Legos because they were removed from the franchise, but why were you sending this guy to check in on the place to make sure no Legos were being stolen before they're removed, which is what supposedly would have prompted the stealing? And why were they removed when they were? I guess the most plausible thing that could be on the side of the CEO of Bricks and Minifigs here is the very unlikely possibility that the God, I'm forgetting their last name. The previous owners of the franchise that were removed were stealing the Lego sets, so they were kind of taking a little bit off the top each day, maybe. And when it was realized that that was happening, corporate sent the Josh guy to go check it out. The Gormans, they sent the Josh guy to go check it out. He determined that, you know, when every visit there were Legos that were disappearing that weren't being sold, and then decided to kick them out. You know, remove them as franchise owners, and that was their punishment. And then Bricks and Minifigs perhaps gets the blame. That's what they clearly want us to believe happened. Let's see what the evidence suggests, though.
This has been brought out by several people online now.
Now look, that's a huge accusation to bring up, and so obviously I wanted to talk to the Gormans about it.
They're like, she has a history of some type of burglary.
All right, let's hear their
Oh my
response.
God. Wow.
Yeah, that's what they're
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, yes.
Well,
You
explain.
know about this.
Explain.
Yeah, when I was 19 years old.
saying. How long ago is that?
I am 45 now. So this was in 1999. Something that happened 25
That was the year I was born.
years ago, has no reflection and
26 years ago.
no bearing on
Almost 27.
what happened in the last 2 years, my management of the store, what happened the night corporate seized the store. It is another deflection, and it infuriates me.
Yeah, if she's not lying here and she did in fact get that charge the year I was born, I think it's safe to say that she was probably just a dumb 19-year-old and did a little bit of shoplifting. That should not reflect on her in her 40s, her mid-40s, when she's like had a franchise that she's owned of a store. Like, I don't know, it's been a while. It's been my entire lifetime since that happened, according to her. That's a long time. That's literally my entire lifetime. I can't imagine a longer amount of time. I can't picture a longer amount of time.
You're gonna try to publicly embarrass and shame me for somebody that was manipulated by local police departments when she was pregnant and 19 years old? Fuck you. That's my response to that. I am so sorry. You're gonna have to blur and cut a lot of this, but that pisses me off. I own what I have done. I own the mistakes that I have made. You cannot intimidate
The doggies.
and
3
bully
dogs.
me into backing down when I know that legally and morally I am in the right and I have the evidence to back it up.
Wow, this is
I love
getting
those dogs.
kind of nasty and personal at this point, and I just wanted to give people kind of their side. But at every turn, I hope you understand, I'm getting contradictory stories, down to if the McNeffs knew about her history in the first place.
Like, they're bringing up something that I...
Yeah, they would have to know. There's no way. If they are bringing this up now, they knew when they brought her in. When they brought them in as franchise owners, they knew. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with this, but, like, the practice, like, some companies are far more strict about it than others, but Bricks and Minifigs is probably towards the middle. I am quite sure they do a pretty thorough background check on anybody who wants to run a Bricks and Minifigs location. Corporate does. Like, it's probably closer to being, like, Chick-fil-A level strict than, like, I don't know, Waffle House level strict. I think anyone can open up a Waffle House.
I told them about.
Wait, you told them?
Told them. They asked me.
They said they had no idea. They said if we knew, we would have never hired her.
Because we would not have hired her had we known this.
I told them I had a record from when I was 18. There was a family issue that, and didn't go into all of the details, but they were like, that's so long ago. We're going to hire you based on who you are now.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there. You guys can make up your own mind. My point is, one side says up, the other says down, and it gets to the point both sides start hinting that they have photographic proof from the night of November 14th.
Okay.
That proves the other side is lying. So I'm like, look, at this point, let's stop talking. Show me the Legos.
Where I was told we are 100% have possession of photos that prove that the Gormans are lying. And then you guys are telling me we 100% have possession of photos that prove this side's lying. Who's gonna drop the photos first? I mean, I feel like someone just has to, somebody's right here.
And after a lot of convincing, both sides agreed to show me the photos, corporate and the Gormans. In fact, I scheduled the calls to do this an hour apart from each other. But let's remember their positions for a second. The Gormans say whatever was left unsold of Brian's collection that was in that store spreadsheet was in Salem store the night of November 14th. Then you have corporate side. They say whatever was left that night was maybe $2,000 to $5,000 of Legos. The rest was either stolen by thieves, the Gormans, or held off site. It was not in that store. And on both sides, there's a lot to lose here, right? You've got the Gormans, who basically have been insinuated to have been stealing. And for Josh and Brandon, too, the new franchise owners.
But, like, okay, why should I trust the Bricks and Minifigs CEO guys now claiming that it's the Gormans who stole it when they've already claimed that Ben stole the Legos? Like, the police showed up with a judge-approved warrant to raid Ben for the allegation of stolen Legos. So clearly, Bricks and Minifigs told the police Ben was the thief. And now they're like, okay, it was the Gormans. Like, this comes off as the most guilty behavior imaginable, where they're trying to throw the blame onto every other party involved. I'm pretty sure they're only a little bit of pushback away from accusing coffeezilla of having stolen the Lego sets.
There's a lot on the line. I reached out to Josh, and he told me, I think her pictures would only show a few sets and minifigs. I replied, so if I can prove that the Lego sets were in the store, that will prove Brandon was lying. Josh replies, if it shows something different, then yes, I will eat my words. So the stakes have been established. And let's see the evidence, starting with Matt McNeff. First, he showed me the video, October 24, 2024, for a baseline of how the store looked.
So this is the Salem Kaiser location, is that correct?
It's the Salem Kaiser location, yes.
So is it fair to say I'm seeing quite a few Legos here? I mean, I'm seeing a store of Legos. You'd agree?
There's a good amount of Lego on hand. This isn't what I would say is a well-stocked Bricks and Minifigs, but it's not terrible. It's I would say a little below average as far as overall stock. So now let's go to...
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been to a lot of Lego stores, but just looking at the shelves, it's like, okay, yeah, there's room. There's room. Maybe they have good sale volume, but, like, they are kind of dependent on what corporate sends them and what people bring them to trade or sell.
Terrible. It's I would say a little below average as far as overall stock. So now let's go to November 14th. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So November 14th, when Brandon was in there helping.
Wait, this is the day. This is like the big day.
This is the day.
Hold on, I gotta hurt myself emotionally for this.
Okay.
This is a big
They've got video in the of the inside of the store that Brandon recorded on that day.
deal. This is a big. This is D.
He was sort of like secret shopper going in and making sure none of the merchandise was disappearing. And it seems like over the course of days, he was noticing that it was disappearing, and it wasn't just selling.
Day. This is the big moment. This is Brandon takes over the store. We don't know where the Legos are after this moment.
We don't know where the Legos are after this moment. And I want to point out again that we've had this for a while. We haven't, but this is the first time we've shown this publicly. We've been waiting for our attorneys to give us the approval to say, hey, this is okay now to share in this capacity. So we'll go through these pictures. This is what Josh saw, or not Josh, sorry, Brandon saw. He took pictures of everything in the store, all the inventory in the store. This is what the shelves look like compared to what you just saw a moment ago.
Okay, so I'm seeing a lot less. Just to state the obvious, go back a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm seeing like way less.
So yeah, the pictures I was being shown on November 14th, those
Very
shelves look emptier than they did.
Now here's my big question. Is this as they were in the process of getting ready to close for the day? Because they put all the Legos in safes in the back room. And they're probably going to have like the last hour of their being open. They're like starting to put things away. If I were to guess, you know? So I could be wrong, but it would be interesting if they were trying to cover their tracks on this, which would be it would be a pretty five-head move to take all these videos that would be meant to frame the Gormans, all the while also intending to frame Ben? Which, once again, why was Ben ever raided if supposedly there's so much evidence that it was the original franchise owners? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I get that they've got this evidence, and it's somewhat compelling, but why did the police get judge approval to raid Reckless Ben on the suspicion he had these stolen Lego sets?
On the day of October 24th. But to be fair to the Gormans, they addressed the empty shelves themselves.
As we get to the very end of this video in particular, right here.
You can see it's nighttime. You can see it's nighttime. Oh, is I right? I bet I was right.
You'll see that empty space right here. So this is the retired and certified set section that we have.
Yeah, but it's also nighttime. It's pitch black outside. You like, point that detail out.
To keep separate from the new in-box current sets being sold by Lego. All those empty spaces up there were the sets that we had on display during the day from Brian's collection that every night when the store closed, we pulled off and put back.
Yep, I fucking knew it. I called it. I believe them. I believe them, because that's just logical. I arrived at that conclusion just from, like, I've worked before. Like, you a little bit before the customers stop being allowed to come in, you are in the process of starting to close things down. You know, like, I remember there was days where, like, it would be 4 or 5 p.m. because the park closed at 8 when the sun was still up during the summer. We would be closing down the tiki bars at the water park, and people would get upset, but, like, we're closing in 2 hours. You know, we're beginning the process of closing. So this just totally makes sense to me.
Into the safe and then put back out in the morning.
So when they say, see, there's empty space on the shelves, yeah, because we put them in safes at night to keep them safe.
Because we have giant windows.
Yeah, it's an explanation that kind of makes sense given the history of burglary. Now, of course, this is something I had to ask the McNeffs about.
Is this a case of, did y'all see Star Wars sets in the back? Did y'all not see the Star Wars sets in the back? Did he take, not in the back, but specifically in a safe? Like, there were a bunch of Star Wars sets in a safe. Did Brandon see those?
It wouldn't be one safe. Unless they have a safe room, in which case they wouldn't need to get more safes to keep stuff. I'm guessing it's the back room is full of giant gun safes. I don't know how many of you guys are into guns, but you can get these giant gun safe lockers. They're super cool. Obviously, I'm not currently in possession of anywhere near the kind of arsenal that would justify owning one of these, so I don't have one, but they come in all sorts of different sizes. Like, we got tons of different examples. Like, they come in all sorts of different sizes and layouts. You know, I imagine they would probably use a modified version of something like this. Maybe a larger model, you know, whatever's the biggest they could get and get loaded into the store. But yeah, this is probably what they would be doing, and just really trying to pack in as many Legos safely as they can into one of these. Because, yeah, I mean, this is the most economical way. Otherwise, you have to, like, have a bank vault safe room made in the back of your store and make the whole room a safe.
Has there been talk of those? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. My understanding is that he took pictures of everything, and all those photos I showed you of the Star Wars were all the photos, or was literally all the Star Wars inventory in the store.
Yeah, the McNeffs say all of the photos should be with Brandon of all the Star Wars items. And to be fair to them, they showed me a lot more pictures and even showed me a spreadsheet of all the Star Wars sets in the store the night Brandon took it over.
Ooh.
And it valued to about like $5,000 to $10,000 or so. But then I had to ask.
Oh, sorry, here's another kind of set.
Okay, that's kind of...
Do you think y'all have all of these?
Very likely.
Okay.
Again, I'd be surprised if we didn't.
But then I couldn't help myself. I started to bring up some of Crystal's photos to see if they matched up.
Have you seen this before?
Not that I recall.
So, do you see that?
Remember, the $10,000 worth of Legos when the store was taken over claim is just coming from the McNabs, the CEOs. So, CEO and CFO. So I don't know if it's that trustworthy, especially when we've got pictures here of... That honestly looks like this is the inside of a safe. Or at least the inside of, like, a box of some kind.
Yep. So do you see it's in, like, some kind of, like, a safe thing? I don't know if you can see the sides there.
Looks like a bookshelf to me, but sure.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I think the important thing...
It doesn't really look... It might not be a safe. Like, looking at it, it does look plasticky, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It's not the inside of a gun safe, that's for sure, but it could be the inside of a safe.
It's there.
Looks like a bookshelf to me, but sure.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I think the important thing is making sure that all of these are in the inventory for-man cell.
Yeah, It seems to be a safe.
Sure. That's cool.
Yeah, this is a safe.
75041.
Yeah, like these are pictures of these are the Lego sets in the safes in the back of the store.
Yep. Vulture Droid.
75169.
They have that
I'm not seeing. So there may be... Okay. So there's one that is not on our list.
The big thing I'm excited to see Coffeezilla confront them on is why did the police raid Reckless Ben, believing that he had the stolen Legos? That's a really, really important question. I'm guessing that Coffeezilla will get to that, and I'm assuming he's saving it for last because they might just leave when they get that question.
Let's try this. 10240.
Okay, nope, not seeing that one either.
What about 9493?
These are some sets they aren't accounting for on their spreadsheet.
I don't see that one either. So maybe those were locked at the time, and Brandon did not get those pictures.
All right, that's kind of a problem because the Gormans had over 200 photos of this store. I definitely...
Damn! Listen, the Gormans seem like they treated it like when you are moving out of an apartment. You know, you take photos of everything when you move in, and then you take photos of everything when you move out, so that your landlord doesn't try to pull any fuckery with your deposit. Or they treated it like that and got a lot of photos before leaving. It's good business.
New looking at these photos, there's a lot more Legos in the Gormans photos, by quite a lot that Brandon's photos just didn't show. But corporate didn't really see it that way.
But still, in the grand scheme of things, we're not talking, again, 10 times the amount of sets here.
I don't know. I haven't shown all the photos yet. I don't know exactly how much.
If there's a calculable figure that we can look at and say, great, this is what was there, I promise you, it's not $100,000 worth of Lego. And so where's the rest of it? You got me. I don't know.
Maybe I'm a little too in my head about this U-Haul story. You don't think it could have been some U-Haul thing? There's no way.
Oh, yeah, have we talked about the U-Haul yet? We gotta talk about the U-Haul for a second. This is another one of those things that was like really disputed between the two parties, was this U-Haul that supposedly was driven up to the store the night of the takeover.
So when Brandon came to the store that night, he was driving a U-Haul truck.
Now, in typical fashion, this was immediately disputed.
Brandon showed up to the Salem store in a rental car. When he came to get the keys from Crystal, he was there in a rental car, not in a U-Haul.
It wasn't until after he told me he was taking the keys and locking me out that I really kind of paid attention to the fact that he had a large, not the small, the large U-Haul truck.
So yeah, I just kept hearing about this U-Haul truck. Now, why is it significant, U-Haul or not? Well, one, a U-Haul truck can fit a lot of Legos, but the big reason it mattered to me was because I was actually called by an ex-employee of the Bricks and Minifig store in Eugene, Oregon. Remember, that's the one that Brandon and Josh owned, and he told me...
Keep in mind, one of the employees of that store is friends with Ben. I think two of them are friends with Ben. The two, like, young Zoomer, like kind of alt-looking employees that were at the store, kind of young. Ben explained to them what was going on, and they realized what corporate their manager might be involved with and joined Ben's side. They hung out, they did some stuff together, they talked behind the scenes and became like his little spies, right? So I'm guessing it's probably one of those two employees from Ben's videos that Coffeezilla spoke to, because they were employees presumably under both owners and would have been there when or when not said U-Haul was there, and they can confirm.
Something very interesting.
I'm a former employee, started in 2024, and I was working under the old manager Brian, and he sold the store to Brandon, Bess, and Josh.
What store was this? Bricks and Minifigs, where? Okay, now what did you see that made you want to talk to me?
I saw Reckless Ben's YouTube video about the sales for closing down because I was talking to my co-workers about the situation of Salem, and what we were told through other employees that it was just a bad area to work in. It was like haunted, if you will, is what was going around. But after seeing the video of Reckless Ben, we exposed them, and it makes a lot more sense with what we dealt with Brandon and Josh. Like, Crystal stole Lego sets and bolted out of the country.
Who says that?
Brandon Best told us when he was jumping up all the Lego sets to us that night. He used, like, there was a bunch of used Lego sets, sets that were like saran wrap, they had Star Wars CD, just a lot of stuff. It was like a medium-sized U-Haul truck.
Wait, they brought a U-Haul truck.
Yeah, from Salem to Eugene.
And to Eugene, and it had a bunch of Star Wars.
So Salem, Oregon is where the bricks and minifigs, where the theft happened, took place. And this ex-employee at a separate bricks and minifigs is claiming that he witnessed the U-Haul arrive from the Salem bricks and minifigs to the Eugene, Oregon bricks and minifigs loaded. U-Haul loaded with Star Wars Lego stuff, which I think we can guess whose Star Wars Lego sets that would be.
Sets on it?
Yeah, Star Wars sets, like everything. A bunch of used stuff too.
So
when
so this ex-employee is claiming that Brandon Best absolutely stole those Lego sets, loaded that shit up into the back of a U-Haul, and then drove it from Salem, Oregon to Eugene, Oregon. So this, according to this guy, last seen location of the Legos would be Eugene, Oregon, at a different bricks and minifigs store.
And was this when they took over the store from Crystal?
I believe so, yes. Yes, because he said that Crystal stole Legos and left the country.
While he has a U-Haul of Legos?
Yeah.
Interesting. Weird.
And he's like, we're just going to hold on to this stuff until corporate tells us where we have to distribute it. And we're like, oh, well, it'd make more sense if we could take, because we're kind of struggling with, the product we put on the shelves.
Oh my gosh. We really got to find out. Was there a U-Haul that night or not? Because everybody's disagreeing about it. This Eugene, Oregon guy says, oh yeah, a U-Haul showed up with Star Wars sets in it. Brandon was talking about the Salem store. You've got Matt McNeff saying there was no U-Haul there. It was a rental car. You've got Crystal saying, yeah, I thought it was really weird. There was a U-Haul truck there. So I told the McNeffs, I really got to find out what the truth is here.
If you know anything about it, let me know, because that's just something I heard.
I do, and it has nothing to do with the Salem store. Well, at least not the Salem store in the way that it is there. Brandon showed up to the Salem store in a rental car. When he came to get the keys from Crystal, he was there in a rental car, not in a U-Haul.
So when there was the handoff, there wasn't a U-Haul, it was a rental car.
Correct. He was there in a rental car.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think any of the, like, if you were to look at the footage, the rain cameras, all that stuff, you won't see a U-Haul sitting anywhere in the.
Zan, I'm subscribed, but it never shows me you're alive. Fucking sucks. I know. YouTube's just evil. I don't know what to say. YouTube's just evil. They don't like me right now.
So after hearing all of this, I realized, look, I just got to find the evidence. So I start sifting through these photos I have, right? I realize I have a parking lot photo. I check it. No U-Haul, just a red truck out there. I check another photo where you can see the window, but the problem is it's night outside, so you can't see. And so I'm looking at everything I can, and there's just nothing, And I have this alternate angle. I'm looking at that. And then, wait a minute. Zoom in on that photo. Bring up the brightness of this photo.
Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. You know what I noticed out the window was that it was nighttime. Bro, full on notice. Just, I never made the connection. There's an actual U-Haul just parked right outside the fucking door. You can see it. You just got to enhance a little bit and you can see it. That's tough. Ooh, Brandon, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing with that U-Haul?
A little bit, and my gosh, there's a U-Haul.
I like how he lightens it as if he needs to. That's a U-Haul, we can tell.
The brightness of this photo a little bit, and my gosh, there's a U-Haul in the parking lot right outside of the store the night of November 14th, 2024. This is something that Matt said he had seen footage
Crystal's not a liar.
Of, and it couldn't be true.
And again, I believe I've seen footage from that night that shows clearly out into the parking lot, and there's no U-Haul.
After seeing this,
yeah, no. Bricks and Minifigs is cooked. Oh, they underestimated the forensic skills of our boy, didn't they?
I said, I really have to make a call. And that's when the story changed.
So last night, I talked with Matt McNeff. I brought up this question of the U-Haul. He told me emphatically there was no U-Haul. Y'all came to me this morning. You said, hey, we looked into it. There actually was a U-Haul there that night. Can you clear up what that's about?
So there's actually two different things that are going on here, just to help you understand. And I don't know if
make us understand.
If you want this particularly not on the record, but we do know of a disgruntled former employee that worked at another location that back on the 24th of October.
So now we're gonna hear a whole news story. We're gonna hear a whole news story unmentioned until now to account for this detail that we now know directly contradicts his last story. Now there's some unforeseen detail that actually explains that away as somehow not being a lie. Okay.
There was a U-Haul that went to a storage unit in Salem for another previous franchisee, like for a different situation that we had just gone through some things, and he had a previously, hey, I have some inventory that I didn't turn over that I was supposed to. It's at this storage location. You guys can come pick it up. And so Brandon was sent on that day to pick up with a U-Haul inventory that then he moved down, but that was October 24th.
So when we're talking about this ex-employee, you're saying they are conflating the October 24th event of the U-Haul coming up to Eugene with Legos with sometime after November 14th, after the store takeover. Is that correct? Am I understanding that?
Yes.
So this is now kind of a strange story. Corporate is saying there was a U-Haul at the Eugene store dropping off Lego, but that was from a different night, different collection. The CEO says Brandon showed up to Salem on October 24th for his secret shopper job with Crystal, and separately, he also was getting a different collection of Legos that also included Star Wars, and that's what he brought to the Eugene store and the former employee is remembering. Then, weeks later, on November 14th, Brandon supposedly shows up again with a U-Haul, but the reason isn't for hauling Legos.
Brandon flew in to Eugene that night. At midnight. So flew from Utah on the 3rd.
I think there's a very good reason why these guys didn't want this in front of a judge. That's all I'm going to say. I think there's very good reason why these dudes don't want this entire case in a courtroom and in front of a judge. Because this shit is not going to work in court. This shit that they're pulling with CoffeeZilla would not fly in court. If CoffeeZilla was a judge, he would have called bullshit so many times by now, but he's an investigator, so he lets them keep on giving taking their own rope to hang themselves with, essentially. But man, if he was a judge, there would be a lot of call-outs by this point, because there's a lot of really shady bullshit on their side of things. Like, the Gormans have basically just proven themselves, truthful at every turn. None of their claims or stories have been contradicted by their own words or the words of even the CFO and CEO. So these guys, on the other hand, their story keeps falling apart with even a little bit of pushback, and then they have to add more to their story, which also falls apart when you prod it a little bit. So I'm going to be honest, I don't feel like they should have even talked to CoffeeZilla. I don't know what they were thinking.
13th, but landed in Oregon on midnight of the 14th. Went and got a rental truck, and then went and stayed at a trailer that had previously been moved up there in anticipation, meaning a camper trailer, in anticipation of the potential hostile takeover previously.
Is that why he had a U-Haul? Is that the reason he had a U-Haul was for this camper, or what's going on with the?
Yes. So then what happens is he takes his rental vehicle truck and he tries to connect the trailer, the camping trailer, to that truck, and it's not rated for that particular weight, and he realized, oh crap. He called around and found that U-Haul had a rating for one of their box trucks, and so he grabbed that, went and got it at 10 a.m. on the 14th, and so he then went and hooked that trailer up to the camping trailer to a U-Haul, drove that trailer down to another location where he could set up the camping trailer in Salem, dropped off the camper trailer, and then he arrived in a U-Haul to the Salem store, and then went in, said hi to Crystal.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this dude lies like a kid. This guy literally lies like a child. Like, so you have to understand, so the aliens came, and then the dinosaur ate the aliens, and then there was a ghost, and then the ghost, you have to understand, ghosts and aliens are actually really good friends. So then they played some basketball together, and then that's when Thor showed up, and Thor popped the basketball, and then they all fought, and that's how the lamp broke. That's how this dude lies. Genuinely. Like a child who just doesn't quite realize you maybe shouldn't go that hard on the details. You make it a little bit unbelievable. The fact that this guy has to keep on, like, what is this nonsense? So first, no U-Hauls involved, and okay, it's a U-Haul, but it's at a different location, but wait, we have a picture of the U-Haul at that location. Okay, well, what we have to understand is he couldn't carry his trailer, his pull-along trailer, which those things, dude, minivans can carry those things, can pull those things. I highly doubt that guy doesn't have a truck that couldn't pull one of those. So he gets a U-Haul, and then I don't believe, no, I don't buy this shit. I don't buy it.
And then
I want to see what's the like the silver bullet. I want to see how this video ends.
Documentation, and you guys say you need more documentation. So I mean, that's kind of the
right. A spread, like, I understand a spreadsheet and a contract are a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we never got that. That was never sent to us at corporate, by the way.
Y'all do have the spreadsheet though, yeah?
That was shared online, but months after we asked for it.
It says
you guys wouldn't even allow yourselves to be served papers to show up in court. Why should we believe you that you just were denied access to this information that you would have needed to make things right on your own? I like how we skip ahead. Immediately, we land on him saying some shit that we know doesn't make any sense if you've seen Ben's videos. And you've seen that guy and how he acts and what he says in Ben's videos.
I'm so confused. It says I'm on the file right now. It says storage used, owned by BAM Franchising Inc. Owner Salem.or bricksandminifigs.com.
What are you looking at?
It says owner Salem.or at bricksandminifigs.com. That's you guys. It says owned by BAM Franchising Inc. It says created September 6, 2024. When I look at it, this is the Mansell list, I believe.
So this would have been created under, like, so we have the
but y'all definitely have this. Y'all have access to this.
Well, I had no idea. Like, so if this is the first that anybody has shown me that a spreadsheet was created using, like, Bricks and Minifigs Salem, like, and all of this stuff was archived. This is the first I've seen that this spreadsheet was created by Crystal, and we don't.
They're calling him the most innocent man to ever be innocent.
Know how accurate it is, how up to date it was. We don't know a lot of those types of things, and understand. I appreciate you sharing this with us because we had no idea. Again, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't, like, we don't know everything, and we don't go, like, looking in every nook and cranny everywhere. Like, we just don't know some of those things. So if that's there, we can now have our team go look for that.
When it comes,
why not? Hold on, you are corporate of a multi-location, multi-franchise company. Why are you not looking into the nitty-gritty and the crooks and crevices of every single detail? That's exactly what your job is. You're a corporation. Is it the YouTuber's job to be doing that, or should it be yours? It's literally your company, bro. What kind of, like, responsibility shirking excuse is that when you're literally the CEO of the company? It is absolutely your job to make sure shit like this isn't happening.
Where, like, we just don't know some of those things. So if that's there, we can now have our team go look for that.
When it comes right down to it, they're going to have to make a judgment call and say, who's telling the truth? The people who are taking all the pictures and say, and we couldn't take pictures of everything the night of, but we're being honest consistently, and the people who are saying, there was $5,000 there. Really? Like, that makes no sense. We've got the evidence, and yes, there's a discrepancy. We acknowledge we did not take pictures of everything, but does that mean that the discrepancy is, oh, and therefore these missing, percentage, whatever that would be, 5%, is some magical other place? Or it was sitting there in the store and we didn't get pictures of it.
If I messed up on my record keeping, I will take accountability for that. Mm-hmm. It's possible. If my staff didn't draw attention that consignments had left out, so I'd move them to the thing. Any of that, I will take accountability to that. I am more than willing to do that. I need BAM to show me those tickets.
As they promised to do.
I will sit down with Brian and talk this over and figure out what we missed and where it was missed and how it was missed and make that right with him.
I mean, that's new information no one's ever found out, so that's, like, awesome.
Yo,
They're gonna
it's
lose
Ben.
hundreds of millions of dollars because of their own wrongdoing. They're literally going to destroy their entire company because they're this stubborn over maybe $20,000 worth of Lego.
Sure, I'll be keeping you in the loop with what
Nice. I'm excited. This was good work. My other final thoughts is, dude, you solved it, dude. That's awesome.
As of the making of this video, Brandon Best and Josh Johnson are no longer working at Bricks and Minifigs. These guys were the henchmen. These guys were the henchmen, though. The CEO and the CFO, the two guys in this video, those guys are the ones who honestly seem to be the people behind it. Just going off of my opinion based on the evidence that I've seen so far in this entire thing, and we did have to skip some parts of CoffeeZilla's video, mainly because I don't want to just, broadcast the whole thing. I want you guys to go watch the whole video for yourselves and give him a view, because that helps his channel. You know, I don't want to just steal a view from him. But this whole story might be like the story of the year. I know, there's the politics and the presidency, and that's big. But as far as non-political things that are a cultural standing point or mark kind of touchstone for everybody, that everyone will refer to and talk about in the future, I feel like this is one of those things. I think people are going to talk about the bricks and minifigs scandal 10 years from now. I think people are going to be like nostalgic for this whole time that we're in at this very moment, which is a neat thing to think about, isn't it? Anyway, though, leave a like and a comment on the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more, and thank you for watching.